just a glimpse that we had into the types of things that are going on with GFNY in 2022. Um, there's some extremely exciting and challenging destinations, new faces, new places, as well as some of the races that have become Peloton favorites coming back. We've got dates for Portugal. We've got Colombia coming back on the calendar. And so that leads us to our second poll. Let's see where everybody is at with where or what new for 22 race are you most interested in getting to? And so with that, let's meet our second panel. You all know Lydia Flume, co-founder and president of GFNY. Luis Lamas, former World Tour professional, three-time national champion of Mexico, world traveler, and co-host of GFNY Grupo. Elena Nolasco, GFNY Ecuador organizer. Sean Gadd, organizer of GFNY Mexico and Colombia now. Congrats, Sean, on the return of GFNY to Colombia. I know everybody's excited about that, and a lot of people have been waiting for that. And finally, mon ami, Monsieur Bermountain, bonsoir et bienvenue, Cedric Haas, multiple GFNY racer and contender and organizer of now 6 GFNYs in France. So one last note, we will cover a lot of ground here in this session, literally half the globe. So a reminder to please pop your questions into the question panel, and we'll get those answered as we progress. And actually towards the end of the session as well. So anything that we can't answer today, we will answer somehow in writing somewhere. So please be liberal with your questions. Welcome all. Lydia, let's start with you. The world has been weird, and we're going to leave all that behind today. We've discussed on GFNY Day and the third Sunday in May shows all of that, but you and the headquarters team have just kept on pressing and kept the calendar going to new and exciting destinations. First, how do you do it? Second, where do we start with this now? 28 races on the calendar, and how has it evolved from where it was to where we're headed now?
We do this out of passion, first and foremost. The level of intensity and work involved in creating this series, it just couldn't work without the love for what we do. And I think the coolest part about the whole panel that we have in front of us is driven by the passion for cycling and by what we do. So that's, I think, at the core of how do you do this every day, waking up and like, what's next? What can I do? And I really live race days. When I just think about what gets me up and excited for the work I have ahead, I think like filling out permits and, arranging dumpsters and deliveries is not an exciting thing, but I live for being around all the athletes, being at the start line, going forward on the course and having these amazing life-changing experiences. This is what drives me and fuels me, makes me so happy and excited every single day. And I just want more of that. And I know what we've created is that. And I love sharing and meeting new people from around the world who take part in races. And that's kind of the background of how this was created and how it keeps growing. And I think I will definitely leave to Sean to talk about Mexico and Colombia. I'll leave Cedric to talk about France. I will just focus on the races in the US, New York. We've got the 10th edition finally happening. Very excited to, be able to hold the race. The world is coming. Couldn't be more excited. I mean, really 93 countries are going to be coming to New York, and it's going to be this amazing international race and beautiful experience that and expect that we're going to be having. Besides this, we've added several new races. We have Ann Arbor in Michigan, which is the, I guess, home of football, and now also hosting cycling. We are in Texas, central location within Texas, easy to get to from the entire state. We're so excited to bring GFNY to Texas because we've had athletes who are from Texas who are like, we need to have a GFNY in my home state. Well, here we are. We brought it to Waco. Can't be more excited about that. We're working on Santa Fe as well to make it happen in September. And we have GFNY Florida confirmed for October. We actually have back-to-back races with a marathon on the Saturday and a cycling race on the Sunday. So you can have a GFNY weekend, even do a double
So
run and
you can
cycling
get your three, you can get 2/3 of your 3-timer medal in one
in one
weekend.
weekend, totally. Besides this, we've also created a race in Sweden. Sweden has been a humongous country within GFNY for the last decade. I mean, like on a race in New York Day, I mean, half of Sweden is empty because everybody's in New York racing. So we knew that the passion of Swedes for GFNY, we also had to go to their home and bring GFNY to them. And I think there's still a lot more to come. We're having a lot of talks. We're getting back to Asia. We're going to have Bali happen, but there's still a lot more Asia. It's been on pause. But we have great partners in Asia to bring GFNY races to happen, and definitely growing a lot more in the US, in Europe, and Latin America. So stay tuned. There's a lot more exciting news happening.
Excellent. Mexico, South America, all of that's going well again. I think we'd all agree with GFNY Peru, with Ecuador last year, and with GFNY Colonia Uruguay at the end of last year happening, and now Punta del Este coming up in March, and now Colombia back on the calendar for July 17th. So what is it about the beauty of South America, Latin America, Mexico that make so many ideal locations for racing? I would address that to you, Sean, and to Elena.
I mean, for me, it's the party atmosphere. That's really where it begins. It's such a pleasure to, for example, in Cozumel, to see the whole island turn into like a GFNY fiesta. And that's really what it is. It's you don't even see cars anymore. There's just so many bikes everywhere for that whole week that people are enjoying the island. They're training together. They're seeing each other after not seeing each other for a while. They're all coming together from different parts of the world. Just Cozumel alone has over like 50 different countries that all participate. So it's a real convergence of just family and friends having a lot of fun. And that translates not only just in Cozumel, but you do Monterey or you go to the new race that we're going to have in Oaxaca, which is amazing. It's going to be the same type of atmosphere. At the end of the day, it's the people that create the energy and the atmosphere. And over here, the Latin people are just filled with warmth and openness, and they welcome you, and you enjoy every second that you're here, 100%.
Louis, you've been to pretty much, with Grupo, every race in that part of the world. Tell us what your view on all of it is.
Yeah, we try. Definitely, I think Latin America and Mexico, it has a different vibe. It has a lot of yes, you get ready for the race, you perform, you want to really race, and I think that's why GFNY it's so successful in all Latin America, because you really get to be pro for a day, but right after you cross the finish line, then you start your second race. You get the beers out. In Oaxaca, I think it's gonna be mezcal. And then you may race for 4 hours, but then you stay after the finish line another 4 or 5 hours. I mean, now with COVID it has been different, but I remember back in Cozumel, like, yeah, people just stay there for hours after the race. It has been harder these last couple of years, but I think we'll get back to that.
But we still had the after parties, even after the finish area. Everyone went to Frogs for the after party.
Yeah. And it's incredible to see everyone like just at the same atmosphere as for the race. Like, we're all in this together. We just want to support each other, and for the party it's the same. Like, you're dancing with people that you don't even know, but you know they were at the race. You never saw them at the race, but you know they were there. They are cyclists, different places, different countries, but you still all have fun and are there at the bar or at the race for the same reason.
Chris, I'll
You
chime
have
in
to put a
for.
link in there.
Please.
I'll chime in. Check out the if you guys are watching this and want to know more, like how do I get involved? Like where do I find all the parties? Check the schedule of events we publish. We always have happy hours ahead of the race. Many races do have after parties as well that are offered. So we're definitely all about the cycling, but also the social element. We're trying to offer both, and also some group rides in advance of the race. Some races also have like cool down rides the morning after. So it's all in the schedule of events, and we're really not about the 1 day race. We're about the whole experience. We know that people are living the races. They're excited. I mean, you guys are spending money on coming to these trips. You're taking time off of work to make it happen. So we know it's a personal investment. You're spending months in training, dedicating yourself, be driven to this goal, the finish line. And so we really are aware of this, and we make this happen by offering you more during race week so that you can have a good experience and be part of the GFNY family and experience and all the things that are going on in race week, because it's not just about the 1 day experience.
Elena, you are the organizer for GFNY Ecuador. You've had 2 successful GFNY Ecuador's races run during the pandemic. And now you're continuing to grow that base because, as you and I had discussed on GFNY Day, cycling is just taken off in Ecuador. Can you fill us in on what the cycling culture is there?
Yeah, well, we are going this year. We are going for our 4th race, so we're really happy. And the cycling culture is really growing here. We talked about this before. Big pelotons in the roads, which is really amazing to see and to experience and to be in one, actually. A lot of people like joining road because the culture of cycling here, it was before we had a culture, but it was mainly mountain bike. So now we get to have also road, and it obviously helps a lot when you have the Olympic champion and you're born in in this country, right? So a lot of fever around road since Richard Carapaz got to be also the champion for the winner of Giro of Italia, and so a lot of happening there. And after that, a lot of more riders, more cyclists joining, and more professional cyclists going into different professional teams. So people are like following up. Now people do watch some channels that are specialized in cycling and stuff, and so you can see it on the streets, and it's amazing.
But not Liège-Bastogne-Liège, because he rode his top bar, which is still legal in GFNY. So free Carapaz.
By the way, Elena does not talk enough about the experience that GFY Ecuador provides to the athletes. I mean, it's like amazing passion and warmth of the cyclists and the organization. People, it's like a fever around GFY Ecuador. People love the experience and the race. It is such a friendly atmosphere. People are so happy. It's such an amazing race. I did the first edition of GFY Manta, and it's really Luis, you also were there. The race is so nicely organized. The course is so beautiful. You're cycling by these beautiful beaches. There's these hills. It's in a really beautiful place. The Manta has great restaurants. And I mean, I've seen this just from the athlete polls we've been taking. People are loving the beach and bike component. People are bringing their families for a week to Manta to enjoy the beach aside the cycling. And I follow, I haven't been again, most recently in Ecuador, but I see the people there loving GFI Manta. And it's so much passion, and what a great work you guys do with organizing.
Well, thank you, thank you. No, actually, the riders do this. I mean, because the truly magic behind this is that all riders really enjoy this and make it a party. I mean, a cycling party, but a party. The energy is so great when it comes to GFNY Manta. The whole city turns into cycling for this. People respect in the streets when you are activating yourself, like riding, and the whole course gets to be closed. So that's really amazing. You do not see a car there, and obviously, if we talk about the city, it's easy to get there. It's at sea level. You get good hotels for low price. It's easy to move around. It's cheap. You have great beaches. The race is organized right on the spot of the humpback whale season, so you can go and watch this. And also, it's really a cool place to do both. Either to be with your family or to party. So if you are young and wild still and you want to come here and party, it's a great location too. And so it has it all.
The pre-race group ride was like 250 people and just fever and excitement. It was amazing. It was such a fun group ride.
Yeah, it is. And locals are really great people, so they actually welcome the riders. And if you hear them screaming at you, Carapaz, that's the way to say go champion.
Okay. Bouncing over to Europe. So Cedric, France has been part of the GFNY calendar in the past, but now with your leadership, it's just blown up. It's off the hook. These are bucket list or, serious cycling destinations for any cyclist. But now with the vision and features of the GFNY races in these very epic and iconic locations, how did you work together to develop the GFNY France calendar for 2022? We've got Cannes, Villard de Lans, Grand Ballon. How did they all come about? And then, Lydia, just to think about while Cedric is answering, where next in Europe?
It's for me.
Hello
all, ouais, s'il vous plaît. Bon, un petit bonjour en français. No, thank you so much. It's a big year. Yeah, it's happening for us because 22 is already 6 races for us, for my team. We work very hard for that with Lydia, Uli, and all the team. I'm very proud to be a big place in France. With starting in Cannes is less 2 months already. Is so beautiful place. I'm very happy because Cannes is a long work for this race can happening. For starting the season with a Côte d'Azur, with the sea, with the playa, with a good condition for starting your season is very perfect. And I'm very proud. We have 6 races, if you know, with around the French. We have after Cannes, we have Villard de Lans. It's a beautiful country too for beautiful landscape. Le Vercors, if you know, it's not the Alps, but almost the same climbing, but it's beautiful part. With all your ways in French, we can make 1 week with group ride camp. VIP, we have VIP group ride too. For visit, for touristic place is very good. You have Cannes, Villard de Lans. After we have another beautiful place with Tourmalet. We have the city for Lourdes. It's very knowing for cyclists. I'm very exciting to go after my my first experience in Alps to Pyrenees, and maybe with Colaspin, with Tourmalet, with the beautiful city on Lourdes. We come back after for another beautiful place, is Vaujany, and Chris, Alpe d'Huez. It's a good remember for you, but yeah, it's in my calendar, if you want, you have Alpe d'Huez, you have Tourmalet, Vaujany, Lourdes, Vercors, Cannes. It's beautiful place. After we have another good ways for me is my home in Grand Ballon. It's just my city start on my beautiful mythic climb. It's also my big challenge for this year. I finish with the first race is happening 2 years ago in 2020, Alpe Vaujany, with Quad Fer Glandon. Was just beautiful year is coming. It's very hard job for us, but I'm very exciting to do my best for making the beautiful waves with my team for all your cycling passion and find my passion too for cycling. Yeah, I'm very proud to be part for GFNY with this race next year.
Merci. C'est bon, très bien. Lydia, what's next in Europe?
I think it's everything, but it's really hard to say. Everything is a work in progress. I can say the world is a big place. There's still many places in the world where GFNY will go to, and slowly we'll take it year by year and work on what we can get done. I think yeah, I think that's all I can say. You can go to gfy.com, see what's confirmed, and I don't really want to talk too much into depth into what ifs and buts. We're working on it.
Thinking about past, present, and future. So past, it looks like Portugal is back on the calendar for September. And then Uppsala, of course, in Sweden on July 3rd. Tell us a little bit about Uppsala and what riders would expect there.
This is a really an incredible race course, very scenic, going through the countryside. Uppsala was the place where the Vikings lived hundreds of years ago, and you're literally riding your bike past the mounds of the Vikings, like the famous site is literally by our race course off the road. So all the history of the Vikings is right there. Arlanda Airport, the Stockholm's airport, is 25 minutes away. It couldn't be any more convenient to get yourself to Uppsala, even if you just have the weekend. And actually, it's July 4th weekend in the US, so can make a weekend out of it and not even have to take days off of work for it. And Sweden's a really amazing place, and the Swedes have a huge passion for cycling, have a long history in cycling, have passion for GFNY. So it's really going to be a big race, a really exciting race, and really with beautiful scenery. Uppsala is also hosting the Road National Championship of Sweden a week before GFNY. So if you want to watch a national championship, come a little bit early, check that out the week before. And Uppsala themselves have been hugely supportive from start to finish to bring GFNY to Uppsala, and working in a variety of ways to make the course happen, and every support possible to make GFY cyclists feel really welcome come race week.
Awesome. That brings us to our second poll of this session and what we've talked about to this point. So what's your destination motivator? Is it the beach? Is it #pool GFNY? So sun and fun, mountains, historic culture, food and wine, or wherever your spouse is interested. I know somebody had mentioned that earlier today. So give us your thoughts on that. Back to the Western Hemisphere, much like France, there are now new destinations and, of course, some return destinations in Mexico. Sean, how have these unfolded? How should GFNY riders think about how to set up their calendar? Lewis, Nelson, Elena, please add your thoughts here.
I'll start with not the rumor. It's been announced on the GFNY website already, but we're going to be launching hopefully next week GFNY Zapopan, which is Guadalajara, which is tequila land and mariachi land. So basically, the race will be the 2nd of October. So for all those who are listening right now, get ready. We'll make the official announcement and launch it next week. That will be October 2nd, which is a little bit more than a month before Cozumel, which means it'll be a great, I wouldn't say training for Cozumel, but a great race to prep up if you want to make Cozumel your main event, that's for sure. It's a 146K course for the long distance. Not a lot of climbing, a lot of rolling hills, but you go past a lot of historic sites there, colonial streets, through tequila country, all those areas. For sure, we'll have a lot of mariachis on the route, just, rooting and playing music for everyone as they race by. So that will be the race kind of in the middle. We're going to start the season off with Monterey, which will be in June. And we're just working out right now, before we do the relaunch, I should say, of Monterey, that we're probably going to start this year in Macro Plaza for all those listening, which we believe is a much better start and finish area, and should have hopefully a much more dramatic sprint finish. Instead of starting inside the park with all the turns, it kind of takes away the speed that you can get, the acceleration to the finish line. And then, of course, in Monterey, climbing up the iconic Chapinque mountain and crossing the finish line up there as well for the long distance riders. I love that climb. I'm sure Luis, every picture I see of Luis climbing over there, he's got a huge smile on his face. But that leads me to the second race of the season, which will be Oaxaca. I don't know if Luis is going to have a smile on his face on that one, because that climb is hardcore. That's Ixtepeji is the name of the climb. It's about 15 kilometers. You're climbing just in those 15K, a good 1,000 something meters. The cool part about that route is that you get to go through the mezcal land, where you can actually see all the how do you call it, the pineapples and the agave plants of where the region is. You get to go through the beautiful town of Mitla, the beautiful town. Oaxaca, in my opinion, has some of the most beautiful landscapes in all of Mexico. It's just, you start drooling from what you see. And they have there also a famous tree, which we're going to pass by, which is called the Tule tree. It's the widest tree in the world. It's a huge tree. So it's about, forget how many meters in circumference. It's a huge, huge tree. And you go through that little pueblito también, which is amazing, and just a ton of rolling hills. As you venture out of the city, the race will start in the city. We'll go through all the historic areas there, the museums or whatnot. We start in the convention center right across the street. Start and finish. What we've tried to do with all of our races is make sure that the start and finish are all in the same spot. So it's very easy for everyone to come, park your car, leave your clothes if you want in your car, and just, as soon as you cross the finish line, after you get your medal and get all the beverages and everything at the recovery area, if you want to get your clothes from the car, you can do that. Of course, we're going to have baggage drop as well, but we just want to make it easy for everyone so there's no difference in logistics for you, just to have everything in one spot, start and finish. So the calendar ends off in Cozumel with the big fiesta, like always. It's this year we're seeing an incredible rate of registrations. It's something we haven't seen in a while. Just everyone is out and about and training and getting ready. And I believe, if people want to do all of those races in Mexico, you can easily get your 3-time medal, and just in Mexico alone, if you would like to. For me, if you ask me what's my favorite race, I'll always say Cozumel. But this year, I'm extremely interested in Oaxaca. The town is just incredible. The world's, I wouldn't say the world, but some of the world's best artists live in Oaxaca. So you go to that town, you see basically little boutique stores selling beautiful paintings from the local artists. A lot of pottery, ceramic craftsmanship over there as well. The food, the cuisine is the best in Mexico. They know how to do fusion like no other. And then if we venture out of Mexico, now I have my hands on Colombia. So this is, how do you say, my new baby. So for me right now, what I'm trying to do is first and foremost, make a route that's different than the last route, not completely different, but definitely make it more interesting. And how we accomplish that is, just like I mentioned with Mexico, the start and finish will be in the same place in Guatavita, beautiful little town, right next to Guatavita Lake. The first 40K of the race is pretty flat. It's not really any climbing, maybe a few rolling hills. We go through the town of Sesquile, then we head all the way to La Cuchilla after 40K. And then the climbing begins. And what we did interesting this time, before I talk about La Cuchilla, is that you're going to climb Cuchilla for all those who are doing the long distance, but you're going to go down the back of it as well. So that was something that when we were scouting and checking out the route, when we went down the other end, we were like, we have to add this into the course. You can't, it's not more beautiful, in my opinion, it's more beautiful than the front part of La Cuchilla. And tons of just switchbacks and beautiful alpine scenery, and the kind of place where you can yell and hear your echo as you're going down the mountain. It's really something that, I mean, I've learned a lot just by going to Colombia, for the reason why it's the place where the top pros train. It has it all. The landscape is incredible. The one thing that I have to say is that, even though it's at high elevation, I was breathing pretty well. I didn't have any issues with breathing at all. And the reason why I say that is because when I climb in Mexico City, I suffer there. I could never get acclimated to the breathing over there, to the elevation. And in Colombia, for some odd reason, La Cuchilla, the air was fresh, nice scented air, like, in the Alpine region. I loved it. So you're going to go down the mountain, and what goes down must come up. And so you're going to climb the back of La Cuchilla, which is going to be about 17K of climbing, and which will be the toughest part of the race. And that's, in my opinion, where the race is going to be decided. So it's going to be challenging, definitely more challenging than before. The medium distance before didn't have to climb La Cuchilla. This time, you guys are climbing La Cuchilla. We're not taking you for granted, and we're going to make you suffer a little bit as well, just because at the end, when you cross the finish line, you'll thank us. Probably hate me before, but you'll thank me after.
So, Louis, what are your thoughts on climbing La Cuchilla?
Well, I've been in that area. I've done it before, not on a race, but for training. I think the area itself, it's amazing. The coffee is something that Sean hasn't mentioned yet, but the coffee in the whole area and the cycling culture. When I was just training, it was amazing. I mean, the climb itself, it's pretty tough. It's hard, but it's at the same time beautiful. It's one of those climbs that you're just riding and you just enjoy yourself so much that once it's done, it's like, oh, I still want to keep going. I want a little bit more of it. It's hurting, but it's still beautiful. So you enjoy it, you like it, and yeah, Guatavita, it's just so close to Bogota, which is a huge city, but it's so far away in terms of it has nothing to do with Bogota. It's not a big city. It's just
you don't feel that you're near the city at all.
No, it's just a small, beautiful little town on the lake, and because there's a lot of cyclists that live like on the other side, not of the lake, but it's like the lake and the mountains near Sopó, Zipaquirá. That's where Egan Bernal is from, and there's a lot of cyclists that will just loop around the mountains, come to Guatavita, and then either go to Bogota or come back. So they know that there's cyclists all the time, all week long, and they just they are very the hospitality of the town to all the cyclists either staying or just passing by. It's amazing. So
it'll be cycling fever during the race because it's the 17th of July, which is during the tour pretty much. So yeah. Everyone's going to be just full blown adrenaline from watching the tour. They're all going to be on their bikes.
I have one thing to add. If you're watching this and you thought about Colombia as a GFNY, a place to ride your bike, you should absolutely do this race. You should go and have this experience. Colombians are so fanatic about cycling. I don't know another country that is this fanatic. Funny story, me and Uli were going to GFNY Colombia like a few years ago. At the airport, we land, we're getting our passport stamped through arrival, like customs, passport control. And the guy's like, oh, GFNY. We're like, huh? And my dad is doing it. And it's at the we got off, we were getting our luggage off the belt, and there another person's like, oh yeah, so you're a cyclist, and it starts having like a conversation about bike wheels, and it just cycling permeates every aspect of the Colombian culture. It is I think the top two sport, or the top sport of the country, and you really literally feel that during your stay in Colombia. It's not the weird person with a helmet. It's completely normal that you're a cyclist. They know exactly what cycling is. They're fans, even if they don't ride themselves, they can have a perfect conversation with you, ask about your ride, understand how your ride went, how you trained for your ride. Like, it's just part of the culture. And it's an incredible feeling to go to a place where you, as a cyclist, which I think in most parts of the world, like, you're someone who's just in the world, and maybe you're like the strange person on a bike, and you come to Colombia and you're like the normal person, because everybody knows cycling. So to me, as a cyclist, it's a very special experience to go to Colombia and be just surrounded by other people who love my sport as much as me.
Well, this discussion of the calendar has been really inspiring. There's a lot in the chat. Hector Vinasco, our man from Cali on Grupo Sportivo, Sean, he has advised you that La Cuchilla is really great going down, but it's going up that he really doesn't enjoy quite as much. So I'm guessing that gravity's got something to do with that. But hi, Hector. So for everybody that has been planning their calendars in the chat, I can see everybody is planning their destinations out. So you might just want to scroll through that chat and see where everybody is planning on going this year. There is a lot going on. Lewis, did you have a question?
Yeah, I want to say my top three, since we're talking about the...
Yes, please. Your top three, please.
Then I want to ask Nielsen about his. But I will say that New York, since it will normally be like the easy option and the go-to, but after 2 years of not having it, it just builds up a lot more. So that's my number one. I think people, like, we've seen it in the quote unquote few races that had happened since COVID, how everyone atmosphere, it's just different. So I think New York is just to get a whole new level this year. So that's why that will be my number one. Then this is a combo because it's just 2 weekends apart in France, and even though they're not on riding distance one to each other, they're at driving distance. I would say it's Alpe d'Huez, my second one, but Tourmalet is just 1 weekend before. So I think that combo, you get both of the mountain ranges. It's different places, and you have a week in between that you can just ride around France, which sounds just gorgeous. I haven't been in that area, so that will be
me, you, and Matthias can carpool from Tourmalet to Alpe d'Huez,
Yeah.
because I'll be doing the same thing.
Bring me in your suitcase, Luis.
Even bike packing, that would be great. Whatever. And,
All right, we did. Oh, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, my third one, I'm very excited about Zapopan, because it's just 1.5 hours from my hometown, so I'm very excited for that. But that's not my third option. I need to mention one in Mexico, because I'm from here. It's my favorite country. I'm sorry, but I will say Oaxaca. It's on my top three. Like as Sean just said, I like the course. It's flat with a big climb, a huge climb on it. So I like that part. And it's just one climb. It's not like New York, where you have one big climb and then a lot of steep short climb. So it's just one big climb. It's easier to focus. and just Oaxaca, the food, the city, the people that haven't been there, they will see that's like the typical Mexico you will see in the movies, and it's
Exactly.
all there. So that's my top 3 that I wish I can go and look forward to.
We're almost out of time, so I'm going to close down with a question, and this is really more for you, Lydia. We had one question about, can someone do New York and Bogota in the same year if it's their first time doing a Gran Fondo, which my answer is yes, but tune in for the coaching panel. We'll have a better answer for that. This, you may or may not be able to answer this, Lydia, but there was a question about, is there a plan for a GFNY somewhere in Africa anytime soon?
Always. We've been working for a decade or maybe less, but I think races can take a year of work before you even see anything. With it being launched, and still another year before from launching until it takes place. And we've talked to a lot of different parties through the years and governments, and definitely COVID impacted the conversations. And so far it's been just like on a pause. So we're definitely working on it. Several people we're talking to, but at this point, nothing concrete to announce.
All right. Well, we are officially out of time. We'll take a 2-minute break before the coaches come on.
But
I just want to thank. Oh, please go ahead, Lydia,
but
please.
wait for Asia. Amazing destinations. We have soon to be able to launch them. Like incredible beach destinations, incredible tourism with amazing experiences, and just wait until amazing great news that are coming out of GFNY Asia and several countries.
But good news that you don't have to wait for is that Bali is back March 6th.
Exactly. So
Okay,
excited
and
for Bali.
Is there
I
a
will say
training camp
also-
for Bali? Is there a training camp for Bali?
I think not this year.
Okay. Sean,
And
I'm
by the
sorry.
way, I think
Oh, yeah.
for Bali, there are no foreigners. So Bali this year is only going to be a national race.
Okay.
Bali is close to international tourism.
Got it. Okay. But the race will go on within
For-
Bali,
yeah,
which is great
for
news.
nationals, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. This has been really inspiring. I know a lot of people are starting to plan their calendars already. So now we're on to the arduous task of how do you get that done, and how do you get in the kind of shape that you need to be in to be able to do some of these epic destinations. So we're going to say goodbye to this panel, and we'll be bringing the coaching panel on in just a couple of minutes. Thanks so much, you guys.